let's look to Thursday in the NBA. There are 5 games on. We'll look at streaming options, who's in, who's out, all that stuff. It's coming up. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and maple syrup is my favorite food. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok, at redrock_bball, and on Instagram, at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, and we are available on all platforms. You know what to do? Be a double banger. Watch the video, listen to the audio, come across here, hit a thumbs up, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. All that stuff really helps out a lot. And we've had 2 shows already today. Pascal Siakam trade reaction show, the waiver wire show as well. Now we're looking ahead to Thursday with 5 games on. I don't expect this will be a long one, but that's what she said. And that's what we're going to go through in this game and talk about. Just quickly. I know that I make a lot of jokes about everything, right? I do. Part of what this show is. Me trying to be funny, sometimes succeeding, sometimes not. But somebody sent a tweet to me saying, I've been a member at Basketball Monster for 3 years and I'm no longer subscribing because you're making xenophobic comments against Canada. And I would have thought that was pretty clearly a joke that has been ongoing for years and years and years. But apparently not, and that's my fault. So, anything I say about Canada is completely a joke. It is an ongoing joke. It's much like Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon. It's a joke. I've nothing against Canada whatsoever. I actually love Canada. I love them at the time that I've been in Canada. It's clearly a joke. There's nothing xenophobic whatsoever that comes out that I say. So, if anyone does take it that way, I do apologize for that. Because obviously the jokes are, they're jokes that are mean-spirited in nature, I guess, without any mean-spirited intention behind them. So, I guess no more Canada slander. It's over. It's done. It's Canada over, some might say. Let's talk about the action on Thursday. What are we streaming to look at across over there? What's happening? Who's in? Who's out? Well, we know that Dan Gafford is out, and that does mean that my mate Marvin Bagley is probably going to have to play a large role, which is absolutely bloody frightening. But it's him or Anthony Gill. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I am listing Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, and Kyra Lewis as out. We already know that they're not going to play in the game on Wednesday after the trade to Toronto. I don't expect that they're going to play on Thursday, but I'm not sure. But I'm currently considering that they will not be available for the Wednesday-Thursday back-to-back, but I don't know that yet. All I know is they are out on Wednesday. Jakob Poeltl will remain out. Derek Rose, and then Ja Morant and Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane and all those guys are out in Memphis. Pascal Siakam has officially been ruled out for the Pacers game on Thursday. He will join the team for the game on Friday, but he will miss Thursday, so we know that he is out. We've got Ayo Dosunmu and Patrick Williams both questionable. For the Bulls, with Williams out, what we saw last game was Drummond playing alongside Vooch for a bit, so that's something just to keep in mind because they don't have any forwards at all. Gary Trent, questionable. He's questionable for the game on Wednesday, so I don't know that he's going to be available for both. I would expect, he's dealing with an illness, I would expect if he plays on Wednesday, that Gaza will be ready for Thursday. Aaron Nesmith and Ben Mathurin are questionable for the Pacers. Mathurin hurt his ankle last game. Nesmith missed a couple with some shin issues. Obviously, the absence of Brown and the non-arrival yet of Siakam means they're going to be needed, but if they're out, then there's just so much there for Hield, tons for Nembhard, and we're probably going to have to see minutes for Ben Shepherd, but also Nembhard and McConnell playing together if Nesmith and Mathurin are unavailable because Bruce Brown is obviously out. Obi Toppin is also questionable, and if Toppin is out, that is a lot for Jalen Smith. That means Jarris Walker will have to play, and Isaiah Jackson will get a lot of minutes there as well. So a lot of interesting things happening there in Indiana. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart are both probable for the Knicks on Wednesday. So I expect that they go on Thursday. And Andre Drummond is also there as probable for the Bulls on their injury report. Now, Anthony Edwards has been ruled in for Wednesday's game. The Wolves do play on Thursday, but they play against someone terrible. Who is it? I think it's the Spurs or the Pistons. It's someone bad. Oh, it's the Grizzlies. So I guess there's a chance that Edwards' knee on a back-to-back against a bad team means that he doesn't play. But that's speculation. But we speculated that Derek White hadn't had a day off yet for the Celtics, so he might not play. And he's not playing on Wednesday, as well as Porzingis. So just be aware of those scheduled things that happen that might lead to these somewhat out-of-the-blue rest scenarios. It is. I'd also mention that when we talk about the Thunder later in this show as well. That might be something to just be aware of. The back-to-backs Thursday, Friday, so if you're looking to plan ahead, it is the Pacers, and they're obviously involved in a ton of stuff here. And we know Siakam won't play on Thursday, but he'll be back for Friday. But that means there's no Brown, there could be no Nembhard, there could be no Mathurin, there could be no Toppin. So you've got your Smiths and your Jacksons and your... did I say Nembhard? I meant Neesmith. Nembhard will be available. McConnell, tremendous value in the Thursday, Friday back-to-back for these Pacers players, with players in transition between teams as well. So a real big chunk of value potentially opening up there for Indiana guys. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and it's also the most exciting and the easiest way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against numbers. You don't have to go up against other people. In fact, when you play other daily fantasy, someone wins, someone loses. That's how it goes. If I win, you lose. You lose, I win. Which on PrizePicks isn't the case, because literally everybody can win. We can all go in and beat PrizePicks at once, because it's just player projections. They put a number up, you look at it and you go, more or less. You do between 2 to 6 of those individual player projections, put them together in an entry, and you can win up to 25 times your money back. So, if you enjoy that, and you should, go ahead and go to prizepicks.com/lockedonnba. The promo code is lockedonnba. You get a first deposit match up to $100. That is prizepicks.com/lockedonnba. The promo code is lockedonnba, and you get a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Today's episode is also brought to you by LinkedIn. 2023, cooked, finished. 2024, bright new day ahead of us. And small businesses, if you want to improve things and set your goals, hiring is important. Having the right staff to support you is one of the key things that makes a business successful. And with LinkedIn, it's not just another job site. LinkedIn has access to over 1 billion professionals, so you can put your job out in front of all these people, and small businesses get a qualified candidate back in 24 hours, 86% of the time. Cutting through the noise and the time that it takes to do a good hiring, an important hiring, is so key, because small business owners have so many things they need to do. They need to be forward-facing. They need to be talking to customers, interacting with suppliers. They need to be hiring their staff. But if you screw that up, well, everything's screwed up as well. The whole business is cooked. So make sure you're doing the right thing, and the right thing is going to LinkedIn to put your job up. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That is linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, so let's take a look at the streams of the day now for Thursday. For a 10-teamer, I am looking at Vince Williams over there in Memphis. I've got Alex Caruso for a 12-teamer. For a 14-teamer, I am listing trepidatiously Isaiah Jackson. That's because Siakam's not going to be available. There's a chance that Obi Toppin is out, and that means that Jackson probably plays 15 or 16 minutes as a backup to Turner. Might play more if Toppin is out. Might have to play at power forward if Toppin is out. Brown is not there. There's just a lot of things moving around there. For a 16-teamer, I am, again, trepidatiously looking at Jonte Porter. I'm not sure if Jonte is even going to start on Wednesday. And even if he does start Wednesday, would he start on Thursday? Or will it go back to Thad Young? Or will they completely annoy me and go to Chris Boucher? I don't know. But I am interested in taking a flyer at Jonte Porter there. And for points leagues, Yahoo and ESPN, I am looking at the cashier himself, Xavier Tillman, as a pretty solid stream option. What is on my radar? The first game is the Wizards and the Knicks. This is a back-to-back game for the Knicks. I want to watch Donny Avdia. Yeah, the big fella, Denny Avdia, who has been really tough to sort of track all season. Big minutes, big usage, low minutes, low usage, big minutes, big usage. It's been all over the shop. He's sort of settling it a little bit, but I'm still not really comfortable with it. I do think that he is a 12-team league player, probably more so in points than categories, but there's enough there to just be always on the lookout to see what he's providing. For the Knicks, we always just want to see the DiVincenzo stuff, whether Hart or Brunson actually plays. I said something in yesterday's show talking about the Knicks, saying, man, they've got no forwards. But obviously it wasn't clear. Because I was talking about if Josh Hart is out, I go, who is their forwards? And they go, bro, they've got Julius Randle. I go, yeah, I know. And I know they've got OG Anunoby. My point was there's no reserve forwards. They've got their 2 starters, and there's literally nobody else. who is a forward on that team. There's nobody. That was what I was saying. And Josh Hart takes all of the backup 3 and the backup 4 minutes, basically. Although Anunoby slides over, of course. But then when Anunoby slides over to play the 4, there's no one at the 3. And that was my point when Josh Hart was out, is that who is going to play the 3 and the 4 minutes at the backup behind OG and Randall? So it wasn't clear on that. Apologies. Got to be clearer. Anyway, streams. Dan Gafford's out. It means Marvin Bagley is going to have to play some minutes at least. Will he start in his first game? I don't know. But I know the other option is Anthony Gill. I guess they could start Kyle Kuzma and bring Bilal into the starting lineup, which is definitely possible and would be very interesting as well. But I'm pretty interested to see what Bagley does, which is just unbelievable for me to say. Josh Hart on the Knicks. I don't believe he's a 12-team league player, but he is definitely streamable as an option here because of the dearth of games and the fact that we know that he's going to get 28 minutes, and sometimes he can be good and sometimes he can be Gennaro Gattuso. The Chicago Bulls and the Toronto Raptors. Zach LaVine has been... I think there's been a lot of hate on Zach LaVine. Yes, the contract is large. He's probably not worth that, but he's actually still really good. And I think he's played relatively well since he's come back. He hasn't obviously hit his fantasy ceiling this season, but he is still very, very good. And I just want to see where he sort of fits into the pecking order offensively. What does his usage start to look like with Kobe White and DeMar DeRozan, or even Vooch? I just want to see how he's sort of working his way back in. On the Toronto side, I don't expect there to be those traded players there, but that would obviously be the key thing that we would watch. In terms of streams, Caruso is the stream guy for the Bulls, and for the Raptors, it is probably Jonte Porter. It could be Boucher. It could be Thad Young. It could be Jalen McDaniels. Does Otto Porter play? I don't know. But I will go to Porter, or I could have Alex Caruso. It's always really disconcerting to type Jonte Porter and not put a junior at the end. Because, you know how conditioned we are in terms of putting Porters at the end of, or juniors at the end of every Porter, or Porters at the end of junior, whichever way you want to do it. Otto Junior Porter. Let's talk about the Thunder and the Jazz. Shea was listed questionable for the game on Monday. He didn't look quite right. He played the back-to-back on Tuesday. He didn't look quite right. They play in the Jazz here, who are obviously flying, but we need to watch. Is Shea going to play? I think he will. But how does he look? I'm a bit worried about that. I put Josh Giddey here as the player that's on my radar because his production's been bad. Like, minutes were down last game. He had sort of pushed back up, and the last 2 were well down. I'm still holding him. But the news also came out that there will be no criminal charges pressed on him for that incident. The girl's family was uncooperative, and what that means to me is that there's just going to be no suspension. He's obviously not going to jail, which some people thought was going to happen. That was never going to happen. He's not getting kicked out of the league forever. Also was never going to happen. And he's not going to get suspended. I still don't know all the official details. All I know is that this happened back in the summer of 22, is my understanding of it. It was a one-time thing, is what I was also told. And it was reported immediately to the Thunder 18 months ago, as soon as it happened. But I don't actually fully know the ages. All I know is that he was 19 and it was in an over 18 club where he met this girl. That's all I know. And he's not being charged. He's not going to get suspended. Full steam ahead, I guess. Although he's playing shit out. So. But how much is that attributed to the stress, I guess, of all this stuff being public and a criminal investigation? Maybe you put some of it on there. So we do want to see that if there is a weight lifted off him, does he play better? I don't know. I want to watch Keontae George, who has been playing much better. He's getting more minutes than Chris Dunn most nights. His scoring is up. His efficiency is up. But is that something I rely upon? I don't know. If I'm in a slightly deeper, I'm getting out ahead of that. In terms of streams, Lou Dort is the king stream on the Thunder. You can go Isaiah Joe if you want. And then for the Jazz, Chris Dunn is available everywhere. He might have 4 points, but he also might have 4 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 steals, which is clearly awesome. And I don't think they're going to be changing up that lineup because it's working really, really well. The last game we look at, I think it's the last game. It is the Memphis Grizzlies. No, second last game. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We want to see GG Jackson because we know that he came off the bench last game and I expect that he does it again. But what is important here is minutes, efficiency, and does he bring the defensive stats again? And I would say that all 3 of those things won't happen again. You might get 2 of them. You might only get 1. And the one I feel more confident about is the minutes. But we'll see what happens. He has been at it everywhere, obviously, because we get out ahead of it. And now let's see what happens. Let's see how it develops. It is a back-to-back for the Wolves, and I said just be cautious of Anthony Edwards here. Xavier Tillman is probably the stream in Memphis, but there's so many. These are all the guys that are 45% below rostered. So it's him, there's Kennard, GG if he's available, Vince Williams if he's available, deeper leagues, Gilead, Pippen. Yeah. Is Scott Pippen going to play? That's something to watch. And then for the Wolves, Jaden McDaniels is right on the nose, 45% rostered. And he's one of those guys that we can use and then we don't have to use him later on. That's how it works for him at this point. The last game of the day is the Indiana Pacers and the Sacramento Kings. We already know there will not be any Pascal Siakam. So does Buddy Hield start, especially with a cloud over Neesmith and over Mathurin? And does Hield play 30 minutes? Because if he does, he's a 12-team league guy. Whether that holds when Siakam returns, I don't really know. But considering they're going all in here on Siakam, and Hield was part of the reason that Buddy Hield wanted to be traded was that they weren't going to start him, and they were not interested in an extension, but he's clearly a better player for a team that is winning than Ben Mathurin. So do they just go back and play him 33 minutes, play him off Siakam and Halliburton? No, I think it's possible for sure. Maybe there's been a change in discussions behind the scenes there. For the Kings, Fanapants Kevin Huerter will continue to start. I've got really no question about that. And he's a stream option for this day. And after that, we move on. This is their last game for the week, the Kings. So if you got your pencils or you got your Huerters or you got a Trey Lyles or Harrison Barnes or someone, you move on after this game. In terms of streams, it is Isaiah Jackson, again, that I am foolishly having a look at. It could be Jalen Smith. But with those absences and a potential even further absence of Obi Toppin, Jackson can jump in with 4 blocks very easily here. And in terms of the Kings stream, it is Harrison Barnes, but I don't want to talk about that anymore. Today's episode is also brought to you by the Game Time app. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to an event. Why would you need to worry? It's a fun thing. But sometimes the process of buying tickets is not only worrisome, but it's confusing. Fake prices up on these websites or apps. You go in there and you have a look at them and they put a price and you go to the checkout and it's something different. You go, this is garbage. Game Time fixed that with all-in pricing. Whatever the price is that's there is the price that you pay. So don't get slugged with ridiculous fees that are hidden to try and coerce you into buying these tickets. This is a fun thing. We want to be able to go and buy our tickets to our events. Plus, they've also got this thing called zone deals where you can save up to 18% of your tickets. So you just pick an area, a section that you want to sit in. And when you pick it, the guys at Game Time choose your exact seat and you save up to 18%. I mean, I couldn't find a better option than that. Actually, I could probably find better deals, but they'd all be within the Game Time app anyway. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That is, terms apply. They couldn't. Create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Okay, let us go through now. We've checked out the 5 games. Let's have a look at how we get chunky Thursday through Monday. All 5 of these days are quality game days. So you can stream Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday in the vast majority of leagues. So where are we looking? Well, Chicago, Alex Caruso, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. Very good. Goga Badadze and the Magic, Friday, Sunday, Monday. So you don't get the initial Thursday boost there for the Magic, but you got a nice little Friday, Sunday, Monday combo, a nice back-to-back heading into Week 14. The Duck, Luke Kennard for the Grizzlies, Xavier Tillman for the Grizzlies, any Grizzlies player. They got Thursday, Saturday, Monday. A great opportunity to see Williams, Tillman, Kennard, Jackson, Aldama, who's going to step up. The Hornets and Nick Richards, Friday, Saturday, Monday. Nice little weekend back-to-back there. And Jeremy Sohan and the Spurs also go Friday, Saturday, Monday. Trey Jones is a must. But Sohan is looking pretty solid at the moment. I don't know that it sticks, but at the moment, he's playing well. Starting Thursday, for the next 8 days, these 3 teams have 5 games. One of them is the Pacers. So there's going to be some value changes there. We hope that Siakam doesn't miss... He's going to miss one of those games, Thursday, but then you get 4 in 8 or 4 in 7 for him after that. The Wolves have 5 in 8. We're watching Anthony Edwards' knee, remember? And the Wizards have 5 in 8. So that's not great for Daniel Gafford, but it is great if you're looking at a stream of Marvin Bagley, because the games are concentrated in. It means Gafford might miss more time, or miss more games, not time, and Bagley has an extra opportunity to maybe produce, The 10-team stream options for the day on Thursday, we are going to look at Vincey Williams, Alex Caruso, Timothy John McConnell, Xavier Tillman, Isaiah Jackson, and Luke Kennard. Some pretty solid stream options there for 10s. If you're in a 12-team league, check that list out and then go to this next one, which is the 12-team streamers. We go to Chris Dunn, Jonte Porter, Thad Young. You see it falls off quite a bit there. Josh Hart, Jalen Smith, and my man, Marvin Bagley III. For deeper formats, these are all available in over 80% of leagues. Andrew Nembhard, you could even put him into the 12-team stream for sure. Chris Boucher, are we going to get burnt on it? Maybe, but in a deeper league, sure, maybe, possibly. I don't know. Simone Fontecchio, Isaiah Joe, Trey Lyles, and Bilal Coulibaly. Now, if Bilal does start and Kuzma's at center, then I would bump Bilal up into that 12-team league zone. I just don't know that they're going to do that. And he's been a little bit hit or miss. In terms of points league streaming, we're going to go to Tillman, Caruso, Jonte Porter, Isaiah Jackson, the speaker, Keontae George, and the legend himself, Marvin Bagley III. Can't make any Marvin Bagley III, Marvin Bagley IV jokes. They don't play on the same team anymore. I can still make them, but it's not going to hit as well when they're not playing on the same team. That brings us to the end of the daily look ahead show. So if you are here, go and be a double banger. Of course, listen and watch. But hit subscribe if you're over on the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. That'll make sure you don't miss when the live trade deadline show goes live. But also helps out the shows. Thumb it up. Leave your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.